Hi, Benita here. So, understanding memory and its functionality. So, what is memory? So, memory is the process that the brain uses to encode, store, and retrieve information. So, it takes our senses and what's around us, and it essentially uses that to learn new things, to make decisions, and to shape who we are. So think of memory as a system that allows us to remember our past experiences. We then learn from them, and then we use that information in the future. Or that's how it's supposed to work, really. But how does memory work? First of all, it uses a system called encoding. So what is encoding? So that's the process of taking in information, converting it into a format that our brain can use. And that's generally then sent to the hippocampus, which is our filing system. It's the brain's way of date stamping and filing our happy and our sad memories into our brain's filing cabinet, and job done. So that encoding is almost like, here's a good example, when you meet someone new and you take in their face, you remember their name, where you met them, the location. The brain encodes all of that information so that you can use that to recognize them later on. But after encoding, the information is then stored in the brain, and it's stored in either your short-term memory or your long-term memory. So your short-term memory holds brief bits of information, like generally seconds to seconds to minutes. Like it acts as this like temporary notepad. So it's like remembering a mobile number or a cell number long enough for you to dial it. And then your long-term memory, that's where we store information indefinitely. So it then allows us to retrieve that knowledge and those experiences over time. So like remembering your first day of school, or remembering your favorite holiday, or like I went to Italy in April and I had the most amazing experience with a pasta dish that was just, I'll never forget it. That is etched in my memory. It's in my long-term memory. And then when we need our memory, we simply retrieve it. So the retrieving is the process of accessing those stored information when we need it, like we want to recall someone's name at a party. So actually, memory incorporates different parts of our brain. However, it's not that simple when we've had trauma. So if we've had past trauma, or we've had unresolved root cause trauma, because that's our specialist area, that's what we work in, the impact of trauma can be massive, and it's massive on all the parts of our brain. So why does that happen? Why does the prefrontal cortex, this part of the brain here, that is our senses, it's our executive functionality in the brain, it helps us make really big decisions. Why does the information that comes in there then get relayed to the hippocampus and not get stored? Or the amygdala, why does it then elicit this massive stress response for us? For example, cortisol. Well, unfortunately, when we've had trauma, past trauma, and that information hasn't been processed, it's unprocessed, it's stuck. The trauma trigger that you have, whether it's a location, a person, a conversation, whatever your trigger is, creates that stress response in the body, and the cortisol response goes bang, and we then it immediately impairs our memory formation and our memory retrieval. So during a traumatic event, our cortisol levels just go sky high, and it makes it really, really difficult for us to form clear memories, for us to think properly. It also creates fragmented memories. So fragmented memories are often memories that are less coherent. They are difficult to recall. There's breaks in it. You can remember some bits, but not another bit. You have gaps in the sequence of events that have happened. And fragmented memories can make it really, really quite hard to live with, because you almost don't know what happened, but do you need to know? As adults, we are better equipped to deal with fragmented memories, but it becomes so much more difficult when children experience fragmented memories, because if they have gaps in what happened and no one's explained to them what's happened, or, you know, as adults, we always believe we should protect our children, so we tell them very little or nothing. That's the wrong thing to do. We've got to tell them some version that is obviously of a much lesser degree, but if you don't tell them the full story and give them the start to the finish, they will fill the gaps themselves. And that's a massive problem, because those gaps will be made up, not intentionally, not because they're lying, because their brain isn't equipped like an adult to be able to deal with a fragmented memory. So why is it so poor then after we've experienced trauma? So lots of our clients will say, oh my goodness, brain fog, I've also got to deal with my hormones, etc., etc. Well, it's simply because trauma causes neurobiological changes in our body. So the brain is affected, and the areas of the brain affected, such as I've already mentioned, you know, the prefrontal cortex, the amygdala, which sits just above the ear, and the hippocampus. So the hippocampus is there to help us form new memories and store them for us and date stamp them and put them in the filing cabinet A to Z. It's got a great system, but unfortunately, due to the brain shrinking in size when we become traumatized, that's been scientifically proven, it puts too much stress on it. So if your brain doesn't have the capacity, you simply can't use your memory like it should be. So what we have to do is follow a step-by-step process to help improve our memory. Now, if this is what's happened to you, if this is what you think's affected you, come and have a chat with us. Our Trauma Recovery Method program covers all of these areas. We have a very, very step-by-step processed system that helps our clients recover from the most awful things that have happened. And not everybody everybody thinks their trauma is not as bad as someone else's, but that's because we're all individuals. Come and find out more. At the end of this post, there will be a link for you to have a listen to our mastermind about root cause trauma and how we work through it. And if you're interested, come and talk to us. Have a super amazing day. Bye.